Hey guys and girls, hope we're having an awesome day today. Theseus, Body and Mind Legion, you guys are amazing. Thanks for tuning in. Today, we're kicking off a little mini series that I've wanted to do for a while. I'm gonna call it Brawn and Brains. Why not? And the reason for that is that, as many people know who've been watching my videos, reading my content, I'm very much about obviously fitness, physical fitness, seeing what the body can deal with, the changes that we can make to our physiques, but also the massive benefits that come into play with our mindset as a result of physical fitness, and vice versa. You know, how we can help get the most out of our physical fitness by managing our mindsets a little bit better, tapping into the brain, rewiring some stuff in there if we can, and all of that stuff. Okay, so you know, one of the reasons that I got into coaching after personal training was because there's so much more potential for increasing human performance than just the stuff we do in the gym. All right, and that's really the thing that drives me, is this connection between the body and the mind. Okay, Theseus, body and mind. All right, that's obviously kind of the avenue that I'm looking to explore more as I go. So what I want to talk about today, mainly mood. I want to talk about the relationship between exercise and mood, and why exercise is so good for us as a keystone habit. Okay, and what I mean by keystone habit is basically a habit that doubles up as a catalyst for other positive impacts on our lives. Okay, so for example, I've got maybe 4 or 5 keystone habits, which are the things that I know if I practice on a daily or at least a weekly basis, will tend to keep the rest of my life in order as well. All right, so exercise, meditation, eating pretty well. I mean, those are the 3 main ones. Meditation's a bit specific, actually. It's more of a contemplative time. It doesn't have to be specifically meditative practice. It can just be the mental downtimes that I've talked about before, that contemplative period to detach from everything else that's going on, give yourself a break from all the external factors, and just do a little bit of internal contemplation time. Okay, so those are my 3 keystone habits, and I find that if I've got those in play and they're structured and they're doing their job, then they tend to kind of make everything else do what it needs to do. Right, the rest of my life tends to go pretty well as long as I'm including all of those in each week. Okay. Other keystone habits can be all sorts of things, you know, just general hobbies that people have, maybe playing music, you know, whatever's important to you. All right, but from a mood perspective, exercise is a fantastic keystone habit. And the reason for this really is predominantly the impact of neurotransmitters, all right, the chemical reactions that happen in the brain as a result of exercise. I made a video a little while ago talking about does exercise make us smarter, something along those lines, okay, and that was really talking about the physiological effects of exercise, the increase of blood flow to the brain. Okay, brain mega hungry for blood, needs it all the time. Okay, so increased blood flow, increased blood pressure when we exercise, sends more oxygen, more blood, more nutrients to the brain. And so that's one of the physiological effects of exercise, but also it has this amazing effect whereby we start producing much more of the neurotransmitters that are very largely related to mood. Okay, so the main ones that people will have heard of: dopamine, norepinephrine or noradrenaline, and serotonin. Okay, those are the 3 that we generally kind of know about and we know are associated with good mood. And what's more is that even though the effect generally is the acute increase, okay, so the short-term increase is fairly short-term, it tends to settle back down. But what we have seen, I say we, what the scientists, the neuroscientists have seen, is that over time there is a lasting effect, okay, and those neurotransmitters tend to increase, and what's more is they tend to balance each other. So it's not just about how many we have, it's not, you know, more is always better, It's about, are they in balance? And when we exercise, the ones that we want to increase tend to increase, tend to go up, and then they tend to regulate each other better. And a good example of this is glutamate and GABA. Okay, so these are two other neurotransmitters that are very much related to depression. There's a lot of research out there now that's showing that a glutamate and or a GABA deficiency can potentially play a huge role in being an indicator of depression. And there's therapeutic systems out there looking at focusing on those two specifically to tackle depression, to keep people in better spirits that suffer from sort of anxiety-based disorders, depressive disorders. Okay, but just to show how these two things kind of work in unison, I'm talking about this regulatory response. Right, excess glutamate, which is actually an excitatory neurotransmitter, gets converted into GABA. All right, so they regulate each other, and then GABA, which is an inhibitory neurotransmitter, which helps to keep us calm, keep us relaxed. Okay, that then does that. All right, so GABA, very, very useful. That's the one that tends to keep us in this anxiety resisted calm state. Okay, and that's why we often get this really nice subdued feelings of being relaxed and being calm after we've exercised. Okay, so it's all starting to make sense maybe now if you've known these feelings and you know what I'm talking about. All right, so GABA is a really important one. And what's more is that GABA is not just useful for this, it's useful for lots of different things, okay? The endocrine system, which is responsible for producing all our hormones and keeping them regulated, it's a very complicated system. These neurotransmitters play a huge role in sending all these messages from those different parts of the system to keep all of that intact, all right? And what's the point of what I'm saying? So GABA, yeah, is also very important for other functions. It's also been shown to improve sleep. All right, and as we know, sleep, again, massive indicator of mood. All right, who's cranky when they've not slept very well? That's at least two of me. Okay, so we know that sleep plays a huge part in depression as well. Generally, people, it's a massive generalization to be honest, but quite often people who suffer from depression, depressive type illnesses, tend to have problems with sleep as well. All right, and whether one of those causes the other or the other way around is up for debate, but they do go hand in hand. All right, GABA helps improve sleep. All right, what else does GABA do? It's pretty awesome. It's pretty amazing. There's definitely something else that's useful for, but in any case, those are some examples of how awesome for our mood, for our mindset, a bit of exercise can be. And the main point of what I wanted to come on to here is that hopefully people are getting a picture or an idea of how cutting out exercise during times when you're really busy is not a very good idea. All right, so that's the one idea that I want to leave you with now, is that when you tend to get very busy, when your schedule starts to get filled out, lots of things are going on, okay, it's the habits, often the positive habits that we have control over whether we have in our lives or not, that start to get dropped away, all right? And it's really important that we identify these keystone habits and keep them in place as much as we possibly can, even if that means scaling workouts back to the shortest possible version of themselves that you've got time to do, all right? Keeping that exercise in your day when you know you're going to be stressed, all right? We've talked about the relaxing benefits, we've talked about the mood improving benefits, we've talked about the sleep improving benefits of these neurotransmitters that get produced when we exercise. Okay, we don't want to start cutting that exercise out during times when we know we're stressed, when we know we're busy, and there's other stuff going on, all right? So bear in mind the importance of keystone habits such as exercise, okay? Exercise being a really good one. Okay, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. GABA also plays a large role in the production of brain of BDNF, which has a massive impact on our ability to learn and memory, and it's also shown later in life that if we're able to regulate BDNF effectively, that helps prevent degenerative illnesses such as Alzheimer's. Okay, so massive Massively important factor in relation to memory there, as well as learning while we're still able to do that. All right. So another benefit of GABA. All right. Another benefit of exercise. Don't cut out the exercise when things are getting busy. Okay. Keep it in there. Keep those keystone habits going. All right. That's enough waffle for me. Didn't manage to keep it under 10 minutes this time, but can't win them all. Have an awesome day, guys. Put this into practice. Keystone habits. Identify what they are. Keep them in your life. Accomplish more. And I'll catch you all soon.